In this video, we're going to have a look at some of the features of code blocks that might help you when you're programming. Here I've got a very straightforward program that asks you what's your first name, you enter it, what's your surname, you enter it, and how old you are. And depending on how old you are, it says different things. If you take some time to examine this code, it should be fairly obvious what it does. If not, you'll need to revisit the REPL.IT exercises to familiarize yourself. So, what we've got here in this program is you can see first of all that syntax, that is the text of the code, is highlighted. Syntax highlighting helps us see what is what. So for example here you've got a command highlighted in green. The main commands of C++ are in blue, the extra ones are in green, and you then got a string literal here. So you've got a string and that's highlighted in blue, and the little operators are highlighted in this sort of reddy orangey colour. Now the way that this helps you is if I take the quote off there so that the string isn't properly ended, you can see that the rest of the line is in blue. And that way, when you look at it, alarm bells should be ringing thinking, well, endl shouldn't be in blue, so there's some problem at the end here. And similarly, if you miss off the first quote, you should be able to see that hello is what is your first name, because it's not recognizing these as commands, is all in just the normal black. There's some other features as well. So for example, where you've got forename here, if I double click on it, it highlights forename throughout the code so that I can see what the variable is called and where it's used. Same with surname, same with age. When I click on a bracket like that, it shows me which the matching bracket is. This is both for rounded braces where you put a condition in the middle, and then also for your code blocks here where you can see that the main goes from there down to there. Another useful feature which lets you inspect this is you can see there's a bracket here to a bracket here. You can collapse this section if you want. So you can just ignore it. It's still there, but you can collapse it. So when we are looking at our program, if we press the run button, it will run the most recently built version, the most recently compiled version. If we click on the build button, it will try and build it like this. And if I click on the build button here, I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. So here's, we've got our build log, and I build it, and it will go through and it will tell me, and this is where any errors will come up. Now, if I try and build it again, it just says it's up to date. There's nothing to build. If I want to force it to build, there's a rebuild button, and that will make it build the whole thing again, just like that. So it's a very, very straightforward way of being able to build your project and run it. There's a build and run shortcut here, which will build the project and then run it. And here you can say, there we are. There we are, giving it away. Lovely. And you can see that the program works just as expected. So it's a really, really easy system just to run it just like we would on REPL.IT. The last thing which I'm going to show you on here, if I make that a little bit smaller again, is it's got these line numbers in at the side, and if for example I do miss off that quote and then I try and build it, what you'll see is that there's this whole heap of errors that have come up. Now, just as on REPL.IT, we're going to look at the top one, and if you click on it, it will tell you which line it is on, so it'll automatically go to it. So if I'm down here in my code like this, and then I click on this error, double click, it takes me to where the problem is, and I say, oh, missing terminating quote. So missing quote at the end there, I put that back in, and then I can build again. Lovely, and now it compiles. Same with things like a missing semicolon. If we put a couple of those in and I then build it, you can see it's got these errors here, but if I double click on this one, can't see anything wrong with that line. So as always, check the line before. Oh, it's missing a semicolon, fine. And then if I build it again and then have a look at the top error, expected a semicolon before if. Lovely. So by systematically working, you'll find that Code Blocks helps you to build your programs accurately. We also have code completion. So if, for example, I wanted to include random up here, I can say hash include, and you can see it's giving suggestions, random. Okay, and if I press enter, then it completes my code for me. So it's really very useful for knowing exactly what to type. I'll leave some of the other features for the next video.